right all along. This guy's a bad egg, and he's gonna
We're,
destroy
we're
him.
yeah, but we're getting there a little quick. What I would suggest maybe is that is that that Tulkas goes to Aule after Melkor has been there,
Yeah.
and that Feanor is there. Okay, which it makes total
Okay.
sense that Feanor would find his way into Aule's shop. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, that works.
And what if Tulkas asks Aule within Feanor's hearing what it was that Melkor wanted from him.
Right.
And when Aule says, tells him, well, he wanted that, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And Feanor's like, wait, can't you use that to, like,
blow up the sun?
Right, yeah.
That doesn't exist yet?
Yeah. Like, couldn't you, isn't that dangerous? Yeah. Couldn't you use that for blah, 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 blah? And
where was he taking that stuff? Oh, into the middle of town for all to see. Into the middle of town? Like, are you crazy?
And Tulkas rushes off before Aule can answer.
I'm sure it's gonna be fine.
Right. So that's Act 4 stuff, I think, or that's the pinch point. That's like leading into Act 4. Okay, so let's get ourselves out of Act 2.
Now instead of having him destroy something, I would love him to just deck Melkor in the face and, like, mineral salts just fly into the air in a giant cloud, and he's sprawled out on the sidewalk, and everybody's like, "Tulkas, what are you doing? Why did you punch him in the face?"
Well, I would like to see him destroy the thing that Melkor made.
Yeah,
it's worse. It's worse. Well, yeah, it's funnier, but it's not like it.
I know. Yeah,
it's
you're
not.
Right. You're right. It'll be it's a much better visual to have, like, a twisted wreckage of something.
Right. Although because now it's not just Melkor's face that's damaged, because we don't really, even if we believe that Melkor is shaping up, we still don't really like him. And if he gets punched in the face, it's like, oh yeah, he kind of had that coming.
Right.
But if Tulkas breaks the thing he's making, now the elves are suffering the consequence. Now what it was that Melkor.
But what is he gonna break though? He's gonna break the hole that he's digging. Like, we have to think about this a little bit.
Maybe Melkor is making a mechanism to deliver,
like a pump or something.
Right, he's using the steam.
Now.
Well, I mean, it's Melkor. It's not like not that unheard of.
But
and
I still feel like it's too early for, like,
steampunky. Yeah, you're probably right there.
Like, but Bellows is about as technologically advanced as I think we can get.
Well, we can make a pretty simple looking device that clearly has some magical parts that were. Well, the thing is that we have to have. It's way more effective if Tulkas breaks something, and so there's got to be something for him to break.
Are we married to the hot springs?
Well, what do you have another?
No, but I want to think of one now. Marissa, do you have anything? Like, as much fun as I think the hot springs are.
All right, why don't we get back into Act 2 and marinate on that for a minute, because we still haven't gotten out of Act 2. Because so far in Act 2, all that's happened is there's been a conversation between a very, very short conversation between Melkor and Eonwe, and a conversation between Eonwe and Tulkas with him interacting with elves in the background. So we need to figure out what it is. So the midpoint is that, and this is what sparked this whole conversation. The midpoint has got to be that Melkor finds out that the Vanyar need something, or don't have something.
I mean, I guess for the Vanyar, I do like hot springs because, spiritual cleansing and all that.
All right.
We do that thing you do when you solve our problems.
Why don't we come back to that in a minute? But we can establish that that's the midpoint and the end for Act 2. Why don't we figure out what else we want to have in Act 2? Do we want to have any elvish? Well, we obviously want to have some elvish stuff in here. So what do we want to see from the elves here? I mean, a scene between.
I mean, do we have a story with what's going on in Ingwe's palace, or do we just have a bunch of scenes?
Is there like an arc for Ingwe's palace? You mean? Not really.
No. I just meant like we said. Oh, we're gonna have Fingolfin and Fëanor and Finarfin bring their kids to visit.
Well,
Ingwe and be presented as princess.
Well, I think that
the
visit
arc
is
be that
interrupted by the proclamation of everybody come listen to the fact that Melkor is going to be
like that was just a setup. But I guess my point is there anything that we want to be doing with these elves who are now presumably wandering around Ingwe's palace?
Could we
for the rest of the episode?
Could we make the arc Can we make the arc that it turns out that Maedhros and Fingon get along rather well, despite the fact that their fathers don't get along particularly well at all?
I'm fine with that. I mean, Maedhros is possibly my favorite character in the entire book, so I'm good with giving him screen time.
Okay. Maybe
I have to oppose it just on principle.
The budding bromance of Maedhros and Fingon as thousands of
a very appropriate time to do that, actually. So
okay. So
questions.
Okay. Well, maybe they could start out a little bit combative.
No,
the two of them.
I'd rather just have a big
then there's no arc.
I don't want them. Not everything has to have an arc.
Well, what I'm saying is like I'm trying to give some kind of actual story.
Their broship falls apart because, well, actually, I guess it doesn't. Well, no, it does.
The story here is that they're meeting for the first time. This is Maedhros and Fingon becoming acquaintances and finding out that they have things in common, finding out that they have two annoying dads, and going from there.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I like dogs.
It doesn't have to be like
forever.
Well, is Fingon the oldest of his brothers? Okay, so like there's definitely like
they're both eldest children.
Right. There's things they have in common as far as their life experience goes.
Right.
There's psychological things about eldest children that make them understand
hang out with each
better.
Other.
Right. We eldest children tend to understand each other better than people who occupy other positions in the family. It's just, at least in my experience. Yes.
It's science.
Yeah, there's science behind it. Did my alarm go off at some point? Did somebody hear my alarm go off?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think I heard an alarm.
Yeah. So
You're sure that was the ambulance?
I'm sure. Yeah. I feel like we haven't been talking for that long.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you just forgot to set it.
I probably did. All right, I'm going to set it a little bit shorter. Anyway, so worst comes to worst, we have a 30-minute segment. Okay. So if that's the case, maybe we can do something to set up like maybe a little bit of discord between them at this point.
But I mean, do we need discord?
Nope.
We need something in order for their or is it just like a steady of positivity?
I mean,
yeah, pretty much.
This is Maedhros and Fingon. They're pretty much as positive as you can get.
They're bros.
Okay.
They're ultra bros. Like that's.
So do they go through any hardship?
Falls apart
together
because
then?
Maedhros it turns out to be a schmuck. Like that is.
I don't buy that Fingon thinks that Maedhros is a schmuck.
at any
But
point. That's true.
The Silmarils do, so I'm pretty sure he's willing to take their word over anybody else.
Yeah, because
Fingon's dead before then.
I know, but still.
And the Silmarils, and by then, Maedhros has tons of blood on his hands. He doesn't right now, and that doesn't just because he grew up to do bad things doesn't just.
Okay, let's just stop. So the the thing that has to happen with Fingon in this season is that his name is Fingon the Valiant before the Darkening of Valinor. Like, he got that name before anything bad happened.
How does he get that name before it?
That's a really good question now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think what is being asserted here is that we should come up with something.
All right.
A challenge that they overcome together would be awesome and would present your conflict.
I prefer that it is a derisive nickname that becomes an appropriate one. Maedhros calls him Fingon the Valiant as a joke, as a gentle ribbing, as bros are wont to do.
But there needs to be an incident that leads to the nickname.
Yes, he rescues a kitty cat.
Fine. I mean, I don't care.
Fingon the Valiant.
Because he climbs a tree and rescues the cat, and then Maedhros gently marks him. Fine, whatever. Boom. But you wanted a conflict. That can be your conflict. There was a kitten in the tree, and you didn't rescue him.
Can we get something at least a little bit more weighty?
No, because that's awesome. I'm already in love with this.
No. We're not having a cat in a tree. I'm not.
Where's Karita? She's good.
Awesome. Karita would agree with me.
Karita would come up with a better idea, but that's
there's no idea better than cat in a tree.
Karita, when you watch this, understand you are a critical component to this team. I just want you to make sure that you understand this. We definitely need you around here. See what happens when you're not here.
Yeah. So when
she would high five me and say that's the best idea anyone's had since this project began.
No.
Oh, it is not
for sure.
So when I came home today, I was walking up to my building, and my cat was sitting on the windowsill. She always does that. Yeah, which is normal, except that she was sitting outside my apartment on the windowsill, which she has never done before because there's a screen in that window. The cat's not supposed to be able to get out. And so I just walk up and I look at her, and she's looking at me, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And so I came in and rescued her. But now I have to close my window for the rest of my time in this apartment because my cat will escape.
Of course, winter is coming, so.
That too. I was going to close the windows today anyway because it's supposed to get cold tomorrow night. But
yeah.
All right. So
cold. Ugh.
All right. What if it's a child?
Oh, a child that falls in a well.
That's not funnier.
I'm not trying to make it funny. I'm not trying to make it funny.
Well, that's the first mistake.
All right.
Ooh, it can be Turgon falls in something.
Mm-hmm.
That's Fingon's little brother. Or it could be one of.
I was going to say it could be one of the sons of Feanor.
Right. If Fingon rescues one of the Feanorians, one of Maedhros' little brothers, they are
friends for life, and he's Fingon the Valiant.
There you go. So which little brother do we want to rescue?
I still like the kitty cat better, but fine.
Curfin is better than a kitty cat. Curfin is always better than a kitty cat.
Who do we want to owe their lives to Fingon?
Oh, that is just so.
How about who's the dirtiest dirtbag?
Caranthir.
Caranthir, there. He saves Caranthir. Done.
Okay.
Because I would love for people to be like, "You friggin' idiot!" Like 6 seasons from now, like, why did he save him?
Yeah, and Caranthir is gonna hate his cousins, so Caranthir is not gonna give Fingon much respect for this.
Yep.
Okay.
Excellent. Maximum drama. I love it.
All right. So, are we going to for now maybe just have them because that sounds like an Act 3 or Act 4 item.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But that's your story. You wanted a story with.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so maybe brothers and cousins at play.
Yeah, in the palace of Ingwe.
In the
'Cause
palace.
they're all exploring this new place they've never been before.
Right.
Right. Maybe, well, to kind of set that up, maybe something like Fingon's unwilling to do something. Fingon is unwilling to climb up something. Like something high.
Like a tree to rescue a cat.
No.
Rescues the cat. There you go. I
don't want him climbing something. I specifically don't want him climbing something to save somebody. I would rather see him climb down into something to save somebody because I don't want to set it up too much.
Okay, so people are out in the orchard climbing trees to like pick fruit or something, and he doesn't want to climb up in the tree because he's afraid because he's a little kid.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not that little. He's like 12. Do 12-year-olds afraid to climb trees?
I wasn't.
I was.
Right, and this is Fingon the Valiant. Like, I think he's probably not going to be afraid of a tree. So we need something a little scarier than climbing a tree.
You're saying I'm not valiant? Is that what you're saying?
If you were afraid to climb trees at age 12, well, yeah, if the shoe fits.
What I'm saying is that his valiant nature comes out when somebody else is in danger.
Which is true.
Right. I mean, it's more than just...
I think Ingwe should probably be the one who names him, just because it seems better that way.
Better than Maedhros naming him.
Well, I think Maedhros should still tease him about it maybe a little bit, but yeah.
Okay.
What Brandon just said something about like Pompey the Great from Rome, and I'm not entirely certain what he's referencing there.
Is that the volcano? Pompeii?
Yeah, Pompeii is the town that gets knocked out by the volcano.
No, Pompey the Great is like one of Julius Caesar. He's one of the triumvirate. I forget.
Oh, Pompey.
Yeah, Pompey. Sorry, I've always pronounced it Pompey.
Which might be correct. I only know it from reading Shakespeare myself, which is never.
How is it spelled?
Pompey, which I'm pretty sure is not the way it was originally spelled.
Yeah.
That's very much
Shakespeare.
Anglicized. Yeah, that's an anglicized spelling. Anyway, so all right, I'm sure he'll respond at some point.
Yeah, let us know what he's talking about.
Right now, I'm saying these things on the YouTube stream. Okay, so we get okay. So I mean, like I'm okay with painting him as not being willing to do something that's potentially dangerous. And having his more valiant nature come out when somebody else is in trouble.
Yeah.
And if we're going to have him climb down into something, the idea of him being small and small enough to get down in there and do it would explain why he has to be the one. Because usually if like there's a scary situation, the kids just call the adults in and solve the problem. So
I think
why
Maedhros
does
should
he
run
have to
off
climb down and
I think Maedhros should run off and get an adult, and then and Fingon's like, no, I got this.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Right, but also just being small enough to get down into a cramped space would also fit.
Okay, Brandon says that Pompey or Pompey, depending on who you ask, the Great it was called that by Crassus sarcastically. He thinks it was sarcastic. Crassus was tired of Pompey getting all the credit for showing up after battles were over. It was a sarcastic name, like, oh, just look at Pompey the Great, but it's stuck.
Yeah.
And if Maedhros calls him Pompey the Valiant, kind of like
Pompey the Valiant,
Fingon the Valiant, but yes,
Fingon the Valiant. Oh my gosh! If
those two
Maedhros calls him Fingon the Valiant, like at the beginning, like kind of like a little bit, and then
he does something valiant.
Right, and then he does something valiant. It's I like that. Okay. Could he be afraid of an enclosed space though? Maybe. Like they're exploring the place and they find like this little tunnel, and he doesn't want to go in because that's a thing that happens to people at full adulthood and it's no problem. Like nobody thinks it's that weird.
Yeah, no. It reminds me of the scene in Sixth Sense where they lock the kid in the room that he doesn't want to go into at the party. But that's just an incidental.
I'm not saying. I'm saying other like Maedhros goes in there, no problem.
Right. Well, that was in Sixth Sense. There's a bunch of kids at a party at a house, and they go upstairs, and there's like an attic crawl space area. They're exploring, and the other kids want to go in, and the Sixth Sense kid is like, "I don't want to go in there," and so they realize he's scared, and being brats, they take him and shove him in the room and close the door and lock it. And he's obviously trapped in there with a ghost who's a scary ghost.
Of course,
because it's Sixth Sense.
I actually haven't seen the Sixth Sense.
Okay, well,
it's like the last good movie Shyamalan did.
It's an M. Night Shyamalan.
I willingly admit to having liked Signs, and
I can't remember. I guess Signs came after. Yeah, I liked Signs.
Yeah.
Signs was okay.
Well, what's stranger is I liked Lady in the Water, which I know nobody liked.
Yeah, that's a bad movie. Sorry.
That's all right.
I do not like The Village.
I also
that was right around the time that his career went down the tubes because he
makes awesome trailers.
He thought he was the next Steven Spielberg.
No, he's not.
And he is.
Unbreakable was good. Yeah, I agree with Brendan. And Unbreakable was good. All right, so we get that. We get the conversation where Tokus reveals that he's keeping tabs on things.
Can Carter fall into the well because he's trying to save a kitty cat?
If
it were Caligorm, I'd be 100% on board with that. Or if it was,
it might have to be if Maedhros is still fairly young. He can only have so many brothers at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
It depends how old we make Maedhros. If Maedhros is like practically grown up in this,
then he doesn't need to go out and get an adult. So I don't. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I think that Caligorm makes it because Caligorm's not a nice guy.
Yeah.
At all, ever either. No. Like
the
only redeeming thing. If the only redeeming thing about Caligorm is Juan at one point was like, yeah, this guy, absolutely. And if we see Caligorm attempting to rescue an animal in distress,
that would actually sell pretty well.
It sets that up, and it makes his fall even more.
I feel like Juan would be willing to overlook a lot for treats. That's just my opinion.
What? Did you read this book?
He's got bacon. I guess.
For treats. No.
Yeah, he's got bacon.
Caligorm also speaks the language of all animals and birds. Caligorm is kind of awesome. The problem is that he has some
turd.
He has some less redeeming qualities, and kidnapping Luthien is the epitome of where he goes wrong. But
selfish turd.
But other than that, he's not.
The thing that Caligorm, like his fatal flaw for me, has always been he just seems like a selfish guy.
Yeah. Yes, he's obviously a little bit on the possessive side. Yeah. So are all of his brothers.
I wonder where he gets that from.
Yeah,
I mean, he doesn't stand out as a villain until Luthien.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
whereas Caranthir has been a jerk the whole time, and Curufin has his own issues.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a break real quick. We'll be back in a minute if you're watching us live. If you're watching this on YouTube in the future, definitely like and share the videos if you like and want to share them. If you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe. Check out the link for Myth Moot 4. Awesome stuff coming up there. We'll be back in a little bit.